Hello and welcome to Paints and Glitter live video on Friday, take 2. My second attempt at making a live video today. I hope it works this time around. I'm looking to see if I can access my video, and then I will fix the camera accordingly. Honestly, if anyone out there is an Apple user and can tell me why my own account will not show up on my iPad despite updating my iPad 2 seconds ago, I don't know. Oh, goodness me. This may not be successful today because it's not showing up and I don't know why. There's no one here, so that's a good thing. Okay. Let's pretend I went. Okay. Well, that might explain it. This is really awful. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. It's not even showing up. See if I can make it work this time. Okay, I see that I have 3 people here. I am going to try to see if I can watch my video as if I were also a newcomer to the channel. That's what I'm trying to do. So I apologize for all the back and forth. I was just trying to make sure that my camera was at a good angle. I do see that there are 3 people here, so I do appreciate your patience while I try to fiddle with everything here. And I'm going to say a quick hello so that hopefully you guys can see there on the chat that I'm here. And okay. All right, so if you're new to my channel, I welcome you. My name is Raquel and this is Paints and Glitter. I am going to come along today and try to make a shabby chic card. So as I say, if you're owed any apologies, hello, Miss Ida. Thank you so much for being here. I was saying earlier, if you're owed any apologies, you're gonna get them all here because I keep apologizing for all of my technical errors. They are bountiful, bountiful. So Miss Ida, thank you for being here. So here's what I'm doing today. And before it escapes my mind, I am going to attempt to grab a link because it'll make it easier to know what I'm referring to. So this is the Happy Holidays Christmas Tree Die and Stamp set from Tonic Studios. It is currently only available in the US of A. So I'm very sorry for my UK friends that this is at the moment sold out on the Tonic UK site. But I'm going to place the link in the chat, God willing. Here we go. And that way, if this will allow me, here we go. Okay, that way if anyone wants it, there's the link. And this set is super duper cute. It comes with a set of stamps, so let me show you that first here. And this is not a new release, but just like anyone else, you know, we get these items and sometimes we don't even get to play with them really. I'm hoping that this is straight. So let me see here. Okay. So I had gotten this and not really used it. So the stamp here comes with several. You see the little gift boxes here to the side. There's a little bow. There's a star and then tinier little stars, a snowflake, a little gingerbread man, some little dots here. The sentiment reads Merry Christmas, and then there's an actual tree stamp. It says joy, hope, believe, peaceful, sleigh bells, festivities, wonderland, Christmas time. There's a bauble here, a little bow if I haven't mentioned it, some holly and berries, and then a tiny star, and then there's this piece here that can be used to make garland. And then these little lines down here for any kind of little twinkle that you may want to add to the star. Oh, hi, Leo. Thank you so much, sweetie. Thank you. And Leo, I apologize for any out of hand kind of jokes that I may make on the live videos. I think I get a little excited. So if I ever say anything that I shouldn't, I want to say a public apology to all of my tonic friends. My sense of humor is very, very, very Hispanic. And I think sometimes it may be misconstrued. I don't know, or my intentions anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. I love y'all, so I don't ever want to say anything that comes across as rude in the moment, you know. It's a little bit hard to read into words, I think, when there's a chat going on. So, oh, thank you, sweetie. Thank you. So here's what I'm doing because I wanted to keep the actual base of the card super simple, only because, you know, mailing and prices. I figured the bulk of it, I still, here in the United States anyway, I always end up spending at least $5 to mail my cards regardless. So that's just how it goes. And what I did was my typical maneuver, which is to make a base, which is 5 by 7, but then I make one 7.5. I fold it at that 1/2 inch mark, and then I'm going to make my base by placing this one on top of the other. However, I'm just very quickly going to avail myself of these Tonic scissors and just really fast go along the edges, just to kind of keep it along the lines of, I am not trying to make this a perfect edge. I'm going to supposedly shabby it up a little bit here. Now another option for this, of course, is that if you'd like to, you can use watercolor card for a base of a card if you're going the shabby route. It's just the nature of watercolor paper to be very fibrous because it's intended to absorb water. So if you're doing a shabby card, that's always a really cool way to go. This is 110-pound cardstock. It is actually, it's got quite a bit of fiber to it. So a little bit of that, you know, tattering, is that how you say that? Anyway, y'all know what I mean. It goes a long way. And I'm just going to adhere this and get it out of the way so that way it has time to dry. Just a little bit of Nuvo there is good enough. And here we go. So I am not exactly up to date on card making this year, but I know there are a few crafty friends that really enjoy kind of, not, I wouldn't say swapping cards, but just receiving them. And I try to make it a point to send out a few cards to those who I know look forward to them. I've mentioned on this channel in the past, I used to send well over 100 cards. I got away from that, however, because most people just either, I don't know, move away or just don't do the card thing anymore. I don't know. But it's always fun to make them. Okay, so I've got this gorgeous gold color card. This is pearlescent card from Tonic Studios. It's available in 6x6 size, as well as the 8.5 by, I think it's 11, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm going to do is, because this is going to be my background, I am going to make it just shy of 5 inches. Then same goes for the 7. So here there is, on this paper cutter, I'm going to go up a little bit here so you can see it. There is a 5x7 guide here. So if you're going to mark the back of your paper, it's just as simple as placing a little line here. And then you don't have to get, for instance, another paper cutter necessarily. So I'm just going to cut it a little bit smaller than that marking. So that's going to be my first layer that I intend on placing here. And that's because in true style of the shabby chic type of card making, you kind of want those shiny papers to peek out from the layers that you may be placing on top. And that's what I'm going to do here. Now, you may want to leave a border all the way around in white, but because I'm going to be placing other colors on top, I made this almost exactly the same size. Okay, so there's that. Then I have this other color here. Now, this is not Tonic Studios paper, but it's really pretty nonetheless, and it matches really nicely with the Rustic Rose. This is an older collection of papers that I have from Tonic Studios, and there's also a metallic rose collection that's really, really pretty. But I wanted to use this old rose paper. And I'm going to go here to 4 3/4 inches wide. So again, keeping it quite simple. Do my little thing again, only this time I'm going to use a pencil. Now, let's see here, 5x7 would be here. So I think at 4 3/4, no, 5 3/4, 6 3/4. Oh my goodness, my measurements. Okay, 6 3/4 because it's just under 7 inches. There we go. Voila. All right. I'm going to do the same thing again with the edge here, which is that I'm going to tatter it. Only this time I'll be a little bit more aggressive. And by the way, this is a linen weave cardstock, quite strong. And there are tools to do this as well. I just really like that grit edge that the Tonic Studios scissors have. So I figured, you know what? This is what I'm going to use. Okay. Keep going. So I have the entire edge here. And if you're worried about tearing the paper, then I suggest always starting from the center and working your way to the edge. Okay. That's a good little textured beginning there. And then I got to thinking it would be fun to play around with the glimmer paste. So I have shooting stars and I have glitterati gold. I love to say that, glitterati. And because this is going to be on the shabby side, I don't want to be too what would be the word? I don't want to plan it too much. So what I would like to do here is I've got the little spatula. Now this is a medium that's kind of gelatinous a little bit. I don't know. But it's fun to play with because it's what I would call contained glitter. So I'm just going to do that swipe. Now, what's looking darker on the paper is the water that's in the medium, and that's going to dry. So it's not going to stay dark like that. And I've got that one, and I think I'm going to do a little bit more over here. So the recommendation, of course, is that you use the same color. Finish using the same color before you move on to the next. I'm going to take a baby wipe just so that I don't have to get another tool out. And I'm just going to wipe this off real quick. Now I am going to end up with glitter on my fingers, but I'm kind of used to that, so no harm there. Okay, so that's good enough. I got my gold, and now I'm going to do a little swash of silver, and that's going to be toward the center here. And the reason being that this gold is going to match that gold paper, but I'm also using some other colors here. And at Christmas time, I say anything goes when it comes to shine. And there's no wrong combination. It's just whatever you like to do. Some people are afraid to mix gold and silver. I think it looks cool. All right, so I believe that that's enough. So I'm going to just close this off. You don't want this to evaporate on you because then you won't be able to use it. It will solidify. I'm just saying that for those who may not know, who might rewatch the video later on. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. And this has a little bit of chunkiness there, but I'm going to set that aside for a moment. And while that's drying, I wanted to mention the dies that are available in this set. There's this beautiful tree here, and it's got all sorts of ornaments and the garland all around it. There's a little star here, then there's a larger star with one that fits right inside. So this would be the background, and then of course the little star. There are two types of baubles that you can use there. There's also these little guys that look like shadows, and that's intentional because they match with the stamps that I had mentioned. So if you go ahead and stamp out those tiny little bits, then you're going to be able to cut them out of the background. Then there's a sentiment that says ho, 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 for those of you who like the Santa Claus theme. I know those are H's and O's. I can't make them out, but I know that that's what they say. And then there's another tree. Now, both of them will need this background piece because both of these are what Tonic calls a verso die, which means that they don't cut the edge, and that's quite cool because then if you want to cut into a background, you can do that. And speaking of which, there's also a little gift box here that's the same thing. So if you wanted to use this just to create a background, you can do that. But if you want to use it with the edge, then you can cut out your own little gift box there. And there's another little piece to create a garland if you choose to decorate with that. And of course, if you stamp out that tree that I mentioned, you can cut it out of the background with that larger edge die there. So cool stuff all around. Hello, Miss Beverly. Thank you for being here, sweetie. Now, what does that tree look like? The one with the little garlands? I have cut it out here, and there's the shadow. Okay, so I cut mine out of white. Then I cut it out of this gorgeous silver card. And this is Tonic Studios silver card, and it is a satin card. Then I cut it out of a shiny silver, and this is why I didn't shy away from adding the silver and the gold, which I'm going to finish drying with a gun in a minute. But what I thought to do is that I would like to stagger this, so that way I do get my shadow, but it's in that gray. So I'm using kind of all the metallics today, all the shades of it anyway. So I'm going to use my thinner nib here. And Beverly, I hope you're feeling well, sweetheart. I've been away from making videos. Well, actually, that's a lie. I've been making videos, just not any that are published yet. So please stay tuned for this upcoming couple of weeks. There's some really exciting projects that I'm so very much looking forward to sharing with you guys. In fact, I finished one yesterday. Oh, it's so cute. So, so cute. Lots of cool stuff coming up from Tonic Studios. It's fun to work with the supplies, but it's even more fun to then see how everyone just kind of falls in love with the designs and stuff. So this morning on the live video, we were talking about that, you know, how you end up finding a favorite inevitably. And man, it's just like, it's so hard to choose because I think they're all beautiful, of course. Oh, thank you, Beverly. You know what? Sometimes I think I suffer from the imposter syndrome, and especially when I'm going to be completely honest, sometimes I don't get very nice things said to me. And that I understand why, however, because I'm not everyone's cup of tea, right? I happen to be very self-aware, and I know that I have a strong personality that doesn't suit everyone, and I can get loud in my own videos. No, I've always said I'm never going to pretend to be someone that I'm not. So I don't apologize for who I am because I know that all of my imperfections are very, very, what do you call it? They're real. I'm not a perfect human being. However, I will never profess to be one. I am quick to apologize if I feel like I've done anything wrong. And if someone calls me out on something that I've done that's, you know, I don't know, foolish or silly or whatever, then I'm always, you know, very willing to accommodate. However, as far as like how I convey my excitement or love for something, or my tone of voice, my laughter, the volume of my voice, I cannot apologize for those things because I can't change to suit everyone. That's called being a robot. And I can do the robot, but I'm kidding. I'm not gonna be one. But see what I mean? Like, that's my sense of humor. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna poke fun at myself, but if you're here, I may poke fun at you too, because that's just how we do it here in Paints and Glitter Land. We need to laugh, people. There's so much horrible stuff going on in this world. So I am not gonna apologize for having a sense of, I know, right, Ida? I don't come with tags. There's no beep beep if you walk me out of a store. But yeah, I recently had someone be kind of like harsh. I was like, whoa, girl, settle down. Settle down, sister. All right, so I'm gonna leave this be for a moment, even though I am tempted, because this is the type of crafter that I am. I want to go at all of the things all at once, you know, no patience whatsoever. But sometimes patience pays off. That's what I hear anyway. So while that's doing its thing, I'm allowing it to dry. Here I have those little gift boxes that I had mentioned. What I did was, I'm gonna try to focus here. I took the Rustic Rose patterned double-sided paper. I picked the sides and the colors that I liked. And to be completely honest, I had some left. I mean, this is old paper, so I just had some left around here. And what I thought to do was that because I'm doing the whole metallic thing on that card and Shabby and whatever, that I would try to see, okay, I think this is the one that I like. From these, by the way, the dual dot markers from Tonic, they come in 3 different metallics, and this one is Empire Gold. If you think of antique, very, very yellow, kind of 18 karat gold, right? Then Black Pearl, it's more of a silver-ish color. And then there's this platinum gold, which I really enjoy. I thought that it would be really nice to color these in, and it doesn't have to be entirely perfect because again, it's that shabby look, but I thought it would be sweet to color in some of these, give them that shiny metallic look as if it's that striped beautiful paper that we love putting under the Christmas tree, and then we don't want anyone to rip it because we want to save it for the next year. Anyone else guilty of that? Recycling that Christmas paper. But the background of this, by the way, has those beautiful little hearts. I thought that was so cute. And it's this soft rose color, which of course is going to match what I had already cut out. And then this metallic is kind of going to bring it all together. And this, of course, you can cut out, if I didn't already say that, you can cut it out with the dies in the set, or you can freehand it, which is probably what I'm going to do because honestly, it's rectangles. So I think I'm going to be all right. But yeah, does anyone else like, I don't know. I don't want to have a false self-perception either though, you know what I mean? I think I can be grown enough that I can take constructive criticism by all means. Please don't ever shy away from telling me, you know, like, hey, Raquel, you forgot, or Raquel, you always say your measurements backwards, because I'm going to be the first to confess that I read backwards when it comes to mathematics. I don't know why I do that. I read rulers backwards and I subtract rather than add. I just discovered that as I was doing my video editing. I noticed more than once I had to do like voiceovers on the part where I'm saying, you know, this card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 or whatever, right? And what I noticed is that more than one time, I would say it completely wrong. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. And I'm always holding my ruler backwards also. I read from right to left. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if I'm the only person in the world who does that. Who the heck knows? But that's me. So please, you know, be patient with me, y'all. Okay. Oh, I wanted to mention the gold jelly roll pen is super cute for this sort of thing because a little bit goes a long way. And this particular gift box has little stars, and I thought how cute would it be to color those in white. And this again is another one of those papers from the Rustic Rose collection. I do apologize if this is not available, but any kind of neutral will do for this sort of thing. It's just kind of a creamy color that's not in your face. And with that white ink, I'm just filling in the stars. Now these also are not 100% perfect. And I also did not stamp them in black. In case you haven't noticed, I did stamp them in Panama Rose. And that's just to keep it cohesive. There's rose or pink in here. There's rose in the ink. There's rose in this other paper. So that explains that. So I am going to color in the center of this little one. Again, not perfect. This is just fun to have a little texture also. And if you don't have a jelly roll pen, you can always use a white colored pencil. That'll do. In fact, the Tonic Studios colored pencils right now are on sale on the website. You can use a code to get, I believe it's another 20% off. Yeah, let me know if you need that. I'm going to cut these out. And I'm just aiming for the edge here. Now, another benefit, of course, of Shabby is if you don't get it right, just do the same thing as I did on the other papers and make the edges fluffy. And then that way it won't matter because it'll look completely intentional, you know. So this morning, by the way, I went ahead and I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's the larger Christmas bauble from Tonic Studios that was made available today. Oh my goodness gracious. And of course, some people were lucky enough to get it yesterday. Woohoo! But it is so, so gorgeous. I cannot wait to get that and be able to craft with it. Okay, I'm going to... And if some of you want to see the one that came with the kit, of course, I have samples. So before I'm done with the video, I'm more than happy to share that one with you guys in case you have any questions. It's just such a stunning design. Okay, another look. Now here's what I do. I always stamp multiples, as you know, as much as possible, of course, because I like to layer my images, and I also like to have something for the inside of the card or even the back whenever possible. So even if I don't use all of these little images on the front, and as you saw, there's two different designs on there, I then will use them on the back. Did I already cut everything? No. Oh, I was gonna say that was too fast. Okay, so I'm gonna do these square ones. And again, there's a die for this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and just do this. Simple shapes. Alrighty, almost there. Okay, and then one little one for this color will do. Okay. And then, of course, at the end, after I get everything kind of placed on the card, I can always go back and add a little more of this, a little more of that, whether it be highlight or the drops and all that good stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Melissa. I am using the Happy Holidays Christmas Tree Die and Stamp Set. I placed the link at the beginning of the chat. This is still available in the US, so if you'd like to pick that up, by all means, feel free to use that link if you'd like to. Now, this is not entirely dry, so I'm seeing some poofiness there, and that's probably because this was so wet. So I'm going to hit this up real quick with a gun, heat gun that is, and that way I can get most of that humidity out of there. So bear with me, guys. Okay, so as you could tell, I heated that paper from the back, not the front. Whenever possible, if you're drying a medium, if you can get away with drying the paper from the back, and I'm sorry if I was shaking my table, then do that. Do yourself that favor. That way you don't accidentally burn the actual, you know, metallic flakes or that sort of thing. That's just a little tip for you. Here's the base again. It's still a little bit, tiny bit wet. I think it's because of the climate here today, but here's my little background. Here's my gorgeous tree. And of course, I forgot to grab the lace, but let's see here. I have some cabbage rose lace here, which I think is quite pretty. And I'm just going to cut a piece of this. Okay. Get my little pin before I forget. So there's that. And I am tempted to use it in this orientation. However, this is quite wide. Let me see here. I could always use it behind this too. Choices, choices. I think I kind of like it better with... Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to grab, let me grab a ruler. In this case, I'm going to use a metal ruler just because it's a little bit sharper. And I'm going to just tear this edge. Okay. Oh, hello, Miss Lainey. Welcome, welcome. Now, in hindsight, I should have waited to adhere the gold, but that's okay. It's shabby. And I'm going to use some double-sided tape here to just tack down this lace. And also, kind of as a cheater method, if you will, I'm going to place it on the back here. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because this is going to help hold that lace in place also. Now, I know there's supposed to be a pretty side to this and a not so pretty side to this. I cannot tell the difference to save my life. So it'll go as it goes. I'm going to place this adhesive here. Get my little pokey tool out. All right, so this is going to help me kind of tack this down. All right. Same goes for this, but I am going to add liquid adhesive to the rest of it. And mind you, not too close to the edge, because the whole idea is that the paper doesn't necessarily have to be so neat and tidy when you adhere it. Okay, so that's going to go right there. And I can also take a paintbrush, and depending on the paper that you're using and how thick it is, you may need to spritz it when you're doing this, but you can always take the paintbrush, and depending on how much you want to curl that paper, you can just roll it with that edge of that brush and get yourself a nice little rolled edge there. And this is old school. I mean, this is nothing new. And do the same on the other corner. Kind of like making pie dough. Just roll it. Or fondant. Okay, so there's that. Let's cut away what we don't need here. Okay. No science to that. And we have our little tree. I'm liking this already. So on here, I'm looking for my phone, guys. Hello, Susie. Long time no see, darling. I'm looking for my wider foam. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, I found it. I'm gonna use the wider foam pads. Now these are not terribly thick, which is really neat because they're only 2 millimeters thick, so you get your little lift off your paper without it being too bulky. And just happen to have one cut down a little bit smaller, so that's perfect. So this is going to go next. And these are super sticky, which is really nice. But to give myself a little bit of kind of wiggle room there. Whoops. Yeah, I guess I need a new bottle already. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put that there. All right. Take a look at it there. Okay. Set these aside. And now my little gifts, my little presents can go anywhere here and there and everywhere, right? So I can also, of course, avail myself of those foam pads to make sure that they're not too low that they look like they're all hiding behind the tree. We don't want that to happen. But place them as you like here and there. So what I'm going to do is cut mine down as needed. And as I said, these are super sticky, so just be prepared for that. You're going to need to use all your fingers. There you go. Sometimes it's easier to just place it on the surface and then put your paper on there. Lainey, I'm faffing just for you. I keep telling my husband, I'm like, that's my favorite word. The faffing. I just think it's, I don't know, one of those things. It makes me smile when I say it. All right. This little guy's going to go right there. Then we're going to repeat that kind of over here. And of course I curled that edge. I'd have more room for my gifts if I wasn't curling the edges of my paper, but that's okay. No harm, no foul. I'm going to place this one here right underneath, and I'm going to kind of push it right to the edge of that tree. Okay. Place that one there. And if you see, this might seem mindless, but it really isn't. I purposely placed the diagonal lines here so that they're not all facing the same exact way. It gives it a little bit of variety there, and I hope that I have been in frame. Oh my gosh, it just dawned on me that maybe I wasn't. If I was not, I am so sorry. I'm going to place that one here. Okay. And I think that what I'll do is, okay, just like that. The little itty bitty gifts can go here. And sometimes, woohoo, the size is not as important as the contrast of color. I think you guys know what I mean by that. Okay, so those can go kind of flat. I'm gonna get a new bottle, guys. That way I'm not keeping everyone in suspense as I put, woohoo, a big old dollop of glue. That's got a way of getting fixed too. Wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't make a big old boo-boo, but I'm gonna wipe some of that off. Oh, thank you, Melissa. All right, that one's gonna have, that is a gift box full of glue. That's what that is. And just a drop. Because if you're familiar with this adhesive, you know you don't need that much, ever. Okay. Gonna make sure my little bits and pieces are not all over the place here. All right, so got these done. This tree, when you cut it out of any paper, right? Little bits and pieces fall out of it, as you guys probably already know. They are these gorgeous tiny little snowflakes and stars. So I have saved those because I thought it would be so cute to have those in the background. And what I'm gonna do is take the thinner nib here. Yep. And then I'm just gonna randomly place those around. That's 3, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do 4 over here. And I'll avail myself of this tool that's just sticky. Makes it a whole lot easier. And there's that. And that tiny bit of shine is just so, so cute. It kind of brings things together. And then I have the tiniest little stars left over. I'm going to use them to decorate my little boxes down here. So there's one here. And I know they're like specks. I often say I feel like Horton hears a who. When I lose a tiny piece of paper, I'm like, where's my speck? Okay, so I like that, but of course we have Nuvo Drops, right? And I have here this crystal drop in seashell pink. This is a nice kind of, it's shiny, but it's a nice intense pink. And I have, let's see here, I really like this gold. This is honey gold. I don't know if this one's still available. It might be. And white blizzard. So I'm going to go in here and have a little fun with this, because I can add a little bit more sparkle, for instance, to what I had colored in with the white gel pen. Now this is called white blizzard, but it truly dries clear. So it's the perfect little drop to add as kind of like a complement to any other color. So I'm gonna add it here to my little ribbons. Again, everything that I colored with that white gel pen. And guys, it's just about having fun, isn't it? Having a little bit of fun there. Then that pink that I mentioned, I can use on some of these little baubles that are cut out. Like that. Right? So of course you want to be a little more generous there, because you want that beautiful little dome shape that these create. And then the honey gold can be used, of course, in the same manner. I think this one might need a little bit of a more aggressive shake. Let's see here. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay. I think I had just clogged up a tiny little bit. So I just take a needle and I clean out the nozzle. And that's usually just fine. There's that. And then the little areas where the stars had fallen out, of course, can be filled in. And I mean, honestly, you can fill in the whole entire thing. I did that white background just to keep it light. But if you don't enjoy that kind of look, then of course you can use your inks and even do a gradated design there. My little bottle. It's struggling. Do I have another gold? I'm sure that I do, but I think Let me see here. I'm trying to look over on my shelf, guys. I think my other gold might be a little bit too dark for this particular card, or maybe not. I don't know. There we go. Now I got it. It finally got warmer. That's all it was. Okay, enough of that. Then I have this other color here. This is Gold Luxe, and this happens to be a Dream Drop. Now, if you're wondering, are there really differences between all these drops? Why is she using so many? Yes, there are differences. It's well worth investigating. Some of these have a translucent finish. Others are more pearlescent. Others are extremely, as I had mentioned, the pigmentation is really, really strong, that sort of thing. So it does add a bit of interest, especially if you kind of couple them with other items that you're using. And I love doing that, just kind of going a little bit crazy with them here and there. Okay. But because they're all in the same color family, I'm using golds, silvers, and pinks, then it does all look cohesive at the end. I think I'm going to add a bit more of this here and make those a bit more visible. And then I'm going to finish this off with a tiny bit of white because the tree is white, and therefore I'm just going to add a little more sparkle, in this case just simple white. Okay, now that is the front of my card. I don't think I can do a whole lot more to that. I mean, I can, but I'm gonna resist. So for the inside of my card, I'm gonna be able to use that Merry Christmas sentiment that I had mentioned. And I'm wondering, for those of you who didn't see this portion of it, there are dies here. Now this is supposed to be for that ho ho ho, but I'm wondering if I could use it for, yeah, I can use it for the sentiment here too. So that's kind of neat. All right, let's see what that's going to look like. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Okay. I'm going to take a quick peek at the chat. All right, don't see any questions. Now, I have to ask, do you guys have this set? Because it was new to me. I mean, only because I hadn't used it, of course. I'm sure there are other people out there who have made videos with it. Although, honestly, I didn't look up any, so I don't know if that's the case. But here's what I want to do for the inside of my card is I'm actually going to be using another piece of that rose paper as the background. And then I may as well just set this aside to dry and then cut out the panel that I'm going to use for the inside of the card. Get that all going. I don't want to ruin my drops, so I'm going to put this far away. Just a second. Okay. Now it is a 5x7 card, so again, you leave yourself the size border that you want. Turn mine around here for a second. Use my pencil and cut this down. Okay, so I know this is going to be the inside panel for the inside of the card. I cut a second little tree. I want to use that as the place to write my sentiment because it's just going to be a quick little sentiment there. So why not use the same shape as the front? And this is also an opportunity to kind of use the leftovers of everything that you had left all over your table from doing the shabby thing. And there's that piece of paper that I had ripped. And place that at the bottom, which is kind of like, you know, might be a bit obvious, but why not use it? So here, I'm going to use that double-sided tape again. Yes, I know what you mean, Melissa. I made the other card that was with the kit, and I got to thinking that would be the easiest card to make for this year if I was going to make multiples of the same. And it was the one with, I did the little dotted background. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in this room. I think, yeah, honestly, I don't even know where it is. But it was a lot of fun to make, and what I did was that I just took the little triangle portions that decorate the Christmas bauble, and then I cut 3 of them, and then I used all the little bits and pieces that you can cut out using the kit. The kit that, in fact, is in the US still available if you want to grab it. I should have, you know what? I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing here. I put the double-sided tape on here, and I should know not to do that because whenever I do, I struggle to get that lining off, which is why I had put it on the paper on the front. Try to get myself in a routine, but every now and then. Okay, that's gonna go there. So anyway, I just used the little layers, and it was such an easy card to make. So if I do make multiples of anything, I think that's going to be the way to go. What am I doing? Oh my gosh. Didn't I just say not to do that? Oh, old habits die hard. Come on. Woo. I just ripped the whole thing off. Really, it doesn't need to be this complicated, guys. Honestly, it's just a piece of tape. Okay, I'm just going to tack that on there. Okay. So I know that I want to use this down here. So that tape is going to kind of be covered. And depending on how I place this, then I have enough adhesive to kind of tack down that piece of lace and the same in that little corner there. So there is a method to my madness, just so you know. Not entirely lost my marbles just yet. I'm almost there though. Almost. Okay, so there's that. Let's place that here. Again, just to leave a little note. And this down here to keep it with the Shabby theme. And of course you can totally tatter this as much as you want to. Kind of make it crumply, you know. A little glue there. This is going to go on the bottom. Some of that glitter is flaking off a little bit, but it's nothing too horrible. You just don't want to use this if you're sending it to anyone in the military, ever. Now, the sentiment I can stamp onto this paper here, which I had mentioned. Oh, hi, Pamela, welcome. Melissa, I would love to see them. Are you going to post them in the group? So I'm sure everyone would love to see them. I think it's so fun to, you know, just get inspired, right? Now for this, I am going to use, let me think here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to use black ink. Woohoo! And of course, you can get out your stamp platform. I'm just being lazy. And I'm going to stamp this here. Okay, good enough. Then I'm going to cut this out. Oh, I understand, Melissa. Yep, I got you, hun. Same here, by the way. I don't always use the same either, so that's, I mean, that's to be expected. Okay, I'm going to use my tiny little machine. Let's hope it cooperates with me today. This is just to cut this tiny little sentiment out. And I'm going to use a piece of that low tack tape, guys. This is a life changer. I mean, it's one of those things where it helps so much, especially for, you know, intricate panels or things like that. You don't want to ruin your paper, but you need a way to tack that die onto your paper. It's very, very useful. Now, this is not by any, it's not centered. Not at all. But we're going with it, okay? We're going with it. Now I'm going to cut it again out of this gorgeous gold card. And the only way that I get things centered is when I use my magnetic die cutting machine, but that's behind me. And it's just as easy to get this little guy out. Okay, so there's that. All right. Now, if you like a more snowy look or a more traditional tree and all that good stuff, you can, of course, do that with this die set. I just felt like making something a little bit shabby because what I want to do next, and I would have done that today except for I have a commitment, is that I want to make a shabby version of the bauble to go with it. So here's what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to stagger it here. Okay. And that's why it kind of didn't even matter that that wasn't centered. In fact, I think it kind of helped me because then I can put the rest of those little gifts on here. Okay. So I'm going to place this here first. Like so, just on the edge there. I need a buzz. Oh, wonderful. So we have some Floridians. Please, please, please send us some warmth. And I say that, I'm being facetious when I say that because Melissa, I don't know if I ever told you the story of how I, this was a while ago, not recent, went to Disney and, oh gosh, it happened to be, we were there for 4 days and it happened to be the record lowest temperatures of all time in Florida, just that particular weekend that we went. And I had packed for Florida weather, you know, 80 degrees and whatnot. So yeah, not prepared for that at all. Oh, it was so miserable. And then, so back then my oldest was, how old was he? 12, I think. He may have been 12, 13, between 12 and 13. And then my youngest was just about 5, 4 or 5. And so my little one hated everything. We were supposed to have like breakfast with Mickey and we were supposed to have lunch with Stitch and this and that. And there happened to be a marathon going on at the same time, which I didn't even know that that was a thing down in Disney. And so we missed all of the special events because the traffic jams were crazy. Oh gosh, it was so awful. And then I would ask my little one, do you want to go on that ride? No. Do you want to go on that one? No. Yeah, It was just that year. We were not supposed to be there. That's what I'm going with. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. We were not supposed to be in Disney at all. Oh gosh. I did get to go again though, with my kiddos, and it happened to be I want to say it was August. And so it was hot, it was humid, and I was loving every minute of it. I was like, yes, I got to redeem myself. I got to be uncomfortably hot at Disney, and I was enjoying it. Oh, I want to pick this up. Hold on one second, guys. My ridiculous long nails don't let me pick up paper. Come on now. It's getting away from me. It's hiding. What am I doing? Come on now. Wow. Okay. That was weird. Okay. All right. I just wanted to put this here. That's it. That was all. Okay. Clearly too much fussing. Now again, I've got a little bit of gold here and there. Oh, another thing is that a rubber eraser is a good friend to have in the craft room, guys. In case you need to get, you know, if you really, really want to do a pristine finish, you can, when working with the shiny, glittery stuff, you can get out your anti-static tool. Okay, this is what I typically do. I just don't show it in the videos because honestly, not everyone wants to watch every little bit of what you do, but that is why the live videos are good to watch every now and then. You get to see a little this and that I think is helpful, because I can now kind of clean that off. I don't have any leftover glitter on my surface. It depending on the anti-static powder that you use, because that is a powder, it might have a scent. This one, I think there's baby powder in there, to be honest, because that's what it smells like. And you can get that from many different companies, but now I can place this right inside. I've got a little white border all the way around. I don't mind that whatsoever. If I don't want to go with that border, however, I can take that marker that I had mentioned and then just color all the way around. So let me show you that. I just don't want to ruin my drops though. Do I want to do that? I'm concerned. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it because I'm going to ruin my drops. Typically, I don't do the drops on a live video, but I did today. So let's just pretend I stuck that down, and that is my finished card. Voila! Just pretend there's glue back there and the whole border is gold. But yeah, that would be it. Oh, how beautiful. Yes, so I am a native of Puerto Rico, so I'm very well acquainted with heat and humidity, trust me. So yeah, that's why I wasn't bothered whatsoever with that hot weather. I prefer it when it's not humid, but you know, I understand it comes with the territory. You can't be in a warm climate without it, so. But thank you guys. So this was, I think, pretty painless to make. Of course, I didn't do a whole ton of intricate stamping and all of that, but if you like to color, or even if you like a kind of monochromatic look, you can take one of the stamps, for instance, like the little gingerbread man, and just do an entire background with that. In fact, what time is it? It's 12:10. Okay, I have time. You can take one of these little guys. Instead of talking about it, let's just do it. And I'm going to grab a tiny little block here. Okay. I'm going to grab some white ink. Now, this is unicorn ink from Hero Hues. It is, you know, a really nice bright white ink, so I have to say it works quite well. Okay, and you're gonna see it. You just do repetitive stamping on whatever piece of paper. Of course, I'm shifting the position, right? But it helps to do it kind of, you know, off the edge a little bit if you want to. No, I'm not going to use this entire strip, but there, boom, quick background that I can, of course, use with, I have another piece left here still. Let's see what we can make of it. I'm going to make a smaller card. I'm going to get a quick base. Bear with me, guys. Just going to get a pre-made base from Tonic. Okay. There's these little pre-made cards that you can grab, and these are USA 6. What is that? 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I believe. Let's take a peek here. 4 1/2. 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. So I stand corrected. Okay. Let's cut this down. I almost goofed that up. Okay. All right, so there's a little panel there. Now get that ink off of here before I forget. And of course, this will be a little bit more whimsical because I've already started off with a bunch of little gingerbread men there. But let's take a peek here. I can stamp this little guy out. Now for this, of course, I recommend the platform, because if not, you might disappoint yourself if you don't get the perfect layout or intensity, I should say, right? Now, I can stamp it onto this white card. Oopsie. Boy, am I making a mess today. But that's okay. I'm gonna place this here. This just happens to be white cardstock, and I know that the other one's ivory, but the ink that I used on the little gingerbread is white ink. So that's why this will work. And I'm going to use this. Now, because of the whole ivory and white thing, then on here, I'm going to use Acorn Brown. No. I had my eye on this, and I finally got it so that I don't have to deal with these other ones. So this is, by the way, the extra strong positioning bar magnet from Tonic Studios. It measures 2.5 by 3/8 by 1/16 of an inch, and I wanted it so that I don't have to worry too much about the placement of the other two, because that one, let me tell you, it's so strong that it's almost scary. Okay. I'm going to go in with this Acorn Brown. Okay. Add a little bit more there. Press that down. And of course, the benefit of this is that I can do it 50 times if I need to do it. This is a little bit of a textured paper, so I might have to do it a couple times before it takes. But I got this platform because I don't happen to have very strong hands. I'm going to switch up my ink, guys. I'm gonna go with a little bit of a darker one. It's the same color, it's just that this one has more ink. Okay, makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so again, I don't have strong hands, and I thought, you know what, this is going to be the perfect solution, and boy, it's been so helpful because I used to get so much pain in my hands from trying to stamp. A little more. And again, that's because I decided to use this textured paper. If I had used smooth paper, it'd be done by now. And I'm gonna go with that. Okay, so just being really careful with that. Okay. And that sticky mat is easily clean. So what I'm gonna do now is just heat this really quickly. That's just to make sure that that ink is completely dry. Okay, and I'm sorry for the squeak. I have a new chair and it squeaks like it's 200 years old. It's kind of funny. All right, so I've got those two colors. I've got this third color that I can introduce. Again, I'm just working with the leftovers that I have here on my table. I can kind of make everything centered here if I want to. That's an option. And I can go in with that marker and kind of trace over some of these letters that didn't color in perfectly with the stamp. So that's kind of neat. And some of these words will now be in gold rather than brown, but of course you can trace them with brown ink as well. Okay, I'm only going to do those two in gold. I think what I'm going to do is get the, let's see here, I have a brown. This is short horn brown. It's an older Nuvo marker, but I can do what I had just mentioned. Just trace over some of these. And I'm going to do hope. Not entirely, just a little bit there. Kind of lends itself to that because of the type of letters that they are. Now, if you're familiar with micron pens, you can definitely go over this type of stamp with a micron pen. I happen to have them in different colors. Let me show you what I mean here. Where are they? I have them. Okay, so these are micron pens, and I happen to have them in different widths. I'm just going to test this one out real quick. Yep. So this happens to be a 0.5 or 0.5. So that's going to allow me to kind of go in and trace over a couple of these little items here and there. which I'm probably going to just go around just a couple of these little letters just to make sure the shadows are still there. Now this isn't super duper obvious, nor is it necessary. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. But what I like about stamping is that you make it what you want to make it. You can get more elaborate or simplify it, whatever you want to do. Kind of, you know, make it work for you. So I'm just going to go around some of these letters, the ones that I had colored in gold. And I'm kind of reapplying the shadow to those letters, if you will, by going around with the micron pen because it's such a thin little tip. And this is not entirely perfect, but it'll do. I just want this particular word here to stand out the most. It says peaceful. Now, if you're a fan of ink resist, this is something that you can use on here as well. You can stamp this in clear ink and then dry it and then just ink over it. This would be a really fun stamp for that also. It just came to mind. In fact, wish I had thought of it sooner. So I'm just gonna finish this one. And I'm just going to go along the little curly bits of that word. But I hope that you guys are noticing the difference here in using this thinner pen. It will allow you to kind of draw out the details. Okay, that looks a little bit better. And then I'll do the Wonderland separately so that way I'm not here too long. But I think you get the gist of it. So I'm going to cut this one down. I think that was the size. I hope. Yep. So I'm just going to adhere those two pieces together. Again, actually, can give it a little bit of texture again. Why not? Just a tiny bit on the edges here. I know this is an impromptu card, but it's a good way to use up your scraps if you have them. And then another thing that I would like to do with that same tree is introduce a tiny bit of green because I didn't do that on the first one. Let's set this aside for a moment. I'm going to use this particular ink here, and I'm going to grab a brush and just load my brush a tiny bit. I'll try this out first. Let's see here. This is the same paper. I just want to see what it's going to look like. Yep. And I'm just going to go around the edges. Okay, so brushing kind of from the outside in, if you will. And you notice I didn't grab a whole lot of that ink. That, by the way, is Bermuda Jade, and it's a hybrid ink from Tonic Studios. So if I want to go back in and heat emboss just the edges, I can do that. But it's such a pretty color, and just enough to add the green into that. Clean off the background real quick. Dry it off. Okay. And now I can start putting this together. And I actually think it would be really cute to add that same color to this base. So let's go ahead and do that before I forget. Again, just a tiny bit left on that brush. It's going to make it all cohesive. And what I like to do in order to kind of achieve this is to move the paper and always use the same stroke with the brush, the same motion, which is just small circles. It makes it a whole lot easier rather than going up and down. And if there's barely any ink, that's okay. It's still going to give it kind of just a little hint of it, which I think always looks really pretty. And now I can just adhere this right on top. It's super simple. I do want to switch this out. But if you want to do the background on here, you can of course do the other little stamps that are available in that same set. That would look super cute too. You can also dry emboss this panel to give it a little more texture, depending on what you like. I'm just going to center it here. Center this other little panel. Right there. My little shabby edges there. And now my little tree. Which I really like. Now I am going to, I'm going to fix these words. I'm not going to leave it like that. But I can also now go ahead and top this off with all those little shiny bits of drops, or I can use, this is an aroma drop, and this is in vanilla cupcake. So this would be a cute one to use all the way around. There's also, I almost forgot, there was the dual dot markers, which I should have used before I even started. You can do a combination of these two on that paper, and that would look really cute too. I think if I do that now, however, I'm going to have to cover that gold paper. So let's go ahead and do that. Just because I think it's going to look really cute. Hindsight is always 20/20. But I'm just going to use this to cover that gold paper because I wanted to do, well, let's do it like this. I wanted to do some stippling on that, and I forgot. So let's go in with this one. And this is that different color gold that I had mentioned. I'm not going to use a ton of it, but this is what I had done on the other cards. And then I'm going to go in with that second color gold. And then of course you press on this as much as you want to, or as little as you want to get the size kind of little drops that you want to achieve here. So even though it's the same dome tip, depending on how much pressure you apply on it, you're going to get a completely different result, which I think is super cool. Okay, I just didn't want to touch that tree with that color. And I'm going to go in with this darker one, and because it's so much darker, I'm just going to go in and do tiny little drops here and there. They emulate the drops, by the way, that are on, or the little stippling or whatever design that you have on that tree. Okay, and I realize this is darker, but it does help everything else stand out a little more. And I think I'm going to bring that into this paper as well. bit busy, but I think it's going to work. So that way my paper has some metallic finish to it here and there. And then on top of those drops that I'm placing here, I can go back and place some drops, Nuvo drops, I mean. I like that. And if you don't, for instance, if you think that that gold is a little too yellow, which from here it does seem as if it is, I can always go back and top it off with a drop. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it can cover the entire drop. It doesn't have to. This, by the way, is a pearlescent drop, and it happens to be a dream drop. That's the name of it. And it's got the lightest colored green in it. All right, and then I'm going to use it here in the center, tiny little bit. Okay. It's a little bit of that splatter effect without having to actually get out a brush. And then in the same manner, I'm going to follow it up with a creamier version. And again, I'm just following what I had already done here. No real science to this. And I'm going to do the center, but I'm refraining from that because of the fact that I still want to finish this here. But in essence, that's another way in which you can use kind of, I don't know, leftover papers, so a little bit of ink, quick stamping. Oh, no way. I'm so sorry, Melissa. I didn't know that. Yeah, there's no way I can check on my end, but it's okay because I'm at the end. I'm not gonna keep you guys any longer because I've been here for over an hour and I wanted to just share a quick little version of this card. I ended up making two, although not entirely finished, but I'll share pictures. I always do that. I'll do it on my Instagram page or even over at the Facebook Tonic Studios page or my own page. So if you're not following me there, I do invite you to follow me on Facebook. It's Paints and Glitter, the same as it is here on YouTube. Also Instagram, Pinterest, wherever. If you look up the hashtag or the @PaintsandGlitter, you'll be able to find me. But thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. I know I'm so eager to finish this, but I do have to get up. I can't be sitting this long. And I do want to thank you guys for spending some time with me. Don't forget, before I let you go, that you still have to give a shout out, just because I think that this is the most spectacular kit. You still have an opportunity in the US to get your hands on this kit. This is the latest kit from Tonic Studios that was released. It makes this gorgeous little box. I think it is so darling. You can add a magnetic closure as I've done here. You can fill it with candies, or in my sample, I put a small perfume bottle just to show that you could do that. I think it would be such a gorgeous presentation for anyone you love. You do the colors that you like. The kit is going to include the reds, the golds, silvers, that sort of thing, greens. But, you know, those of you who were able to grab it, and if you've played with it already, you know how gorgeous it is. But I did want to let you know this is still available. The links are in the description bar of my video. You can go to Tonic Studios USA, get your hands on that kit before it sells out. But you're very welcome. I do appreciate you guys. And as I always say, I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you for sure next Thursday, if not sooner, with my next video. Okay? Thanks again, and thank you for your patience, guys. Ciao, ciao.